Welcome everybody. It is another Visit Lauderdale edition of the Lunchbox, but we're home today. We're going to be out and about next week for our Visit Lauderdale show with Neki Mohan at a place to be determined, but it will be wrapping up the celebration of International Women's, well, actually, it's Women's History Month. Earlier in the month was International Women's Day, but we always like to celebrate women here. We'd like to have some women chime in and always like to see people on the chat lines today. And you'll notice today it is just me and one Mike Lubie Lubitz. We have Jeff Defo DeForest is playing hooky, and here is the upset of the century. He's playing hooky, but he's not in front of any kind of slot machine, video poker machine, horse racing, simulcasting outlet. He is basking in the beautiful South Florida sunshine of the whatever they call the tennis tournament these days. Is it just the Miami Open?
Miami Open, yeah. It's weird that you would think Hard Rock Stadium would get them a sponsor of some kind, but yeah, it's just the Miami Open.
You would think that, yeah, in this day and age when like Hard Rock Stadium is a nice sponsor for the stadium, and Steve Ross, not that he needs any money, and this is one of the thing that I like about Hard Rock Stadium and Stephen Ross is the fact that he actually forked out his own money, and it's a private stadium. It's one of those things that isn't reaching into the pockets of all the local or the the taxpayers, whether they come in the tourist form or whatever. But unlike some of those stadiums in Miami that had a big baseball tournament, which concluded last night. Anyway, here on the Lunchbox today, no Defo, but you got Mayo and Lubie, the two mics, and we're going to have a perky, hopefully later on today. Chris Perkins, my former compadre at the Sun Sentinel, and now the Dolphins columnist for the South Florida Sun Sentinel, is going to be joining us, and we'll talk a little bit of food and hoops and football. He's a man about town. He's like me. He's kind of a Renaissance man, Lubie. He likes to eat, he likes to cook, and he also pays attention to sports, unlike me. And he can actually fill us in about, what the Dolphins are going to be doing with the draft and free agency and all the things that I strenuously try to avoid and not pay attention to. And he could probably tell us who the matchups are in all three local NCAA Sweet 16 games, the two men's and the one women's. And congratulations to the University of Miami, one of only 4 schools around the country that have Sweet 16 teams in both men's and women's categories. Can you name all 4, Mike Lubie Lubitz?
Oh, God, I saw it the other day. No, I don't think I can.
Aha, so you don't know sports either.
I don't. I saw it the other day. It was UM, and was it Texas? There was like and 2 schools.
It's UCLA, UM, Texas, and I'm gonna say something in the middle of the country. Is there like it's not Indiana because UM knocked out in Indiana. Is it a North Carolina school? I don't know. Somebody can look it up. We'll Google it. Yeah, but anyway, on to the food part of the show, and we're gonna be looking forward to talking to Perk at some point. He said he'll give us a good 15 minutes, and I'll take anything I could get from Perkins because I'd certainly rather see his face talking about things with some degree of knowledge as opposed to I feel like I'm Defo now, because I've gotten to the point now where I really don't pay attention to that much, and I just kind of riff. No, I do pay attention to the world of food, and I do have a couple of things on the discussion board today. Starting with, first of all, I want to thank and again congratulate this week's contest winner.
Nice.
Twee Turner. That's how it's pronounced. Twee. And I've learned a whole bunch of things. I butchered it yesterday, and she was very, very accommodating. She is, I guess, she saw the contest on the Let's Eat South Florida Facebook group. Twee, as I've learned, is a Vietnamese female name.
Oh, so it's a woman. So you were calling a man again, a woman.
So Twee, and it's spelled Thui, which some would say Toy or Toy, but it's Twee. She says, as in 1, 2, Twee. It's like Tweety Bird is counting, and she had a good sense of humor about me just not knowing. But she said, yes, Vietnamese name. And she is a horse player. She actually was very thrilled to win because she happened to be out at 10 Palms spending her own dimes on both the food and also the ponies last weekend. So she was thrilled that she's able to then be able to enjoy a Sunday brunch on the house. She was asking if I'm going to be out there. I think her date is going to be April 30th. I don't know. I guess I should go out. I think
I mean, I'm down. Yeah, we want to go to one of these.
oh, so if we can cajole Andy to go on that same last Friday or last Sunday in April 30th, she's choosing, then yeah, I can go out there. And she wants to know if she can bring friends. Yeah, the thing is, the contest it's good for two people
Yeah.
for their vouchers, but as Joe Beja has told me, anybody who wants to bring more people, the more the merrier. It's just that you'll have to fork out the typical really good deal for the Sunday brunch buffet that includes a mimosa, tax and tip. It comes out to about $62 and change, so it's $50 plus the tax and tip. So yeah, if Twee wants to bring a whole
But
party.
if you're, especially if you're a horse player, it's not the norm. Like you go to these brunches now, and I don't know if they actually keep you to it, but they at least let you know it's 2 hours, 2 hours. Now, again, I don't know if they actually monitor you when they get busy, they're in their world, but they do put it in your head that it's 2 hours. Gulfstream 10 Palm does not do that. Okay. So Joe himself has told us his mom will go there and be there all day.
Yeah. Well, it's in conjunction with a day at the races. So it's a day at the buffet along with a day at the races. And
So even if you're not into horses, it's worth it. But if you're a horse player like Andy, Twee, a lot of the people that have followed and won, then it's a dream. For $60, you can get 2 to 3 meals.
oh yeah, no, I mean it's my fantasy where you basically spend the day grazing. You don't have to bombard yourself and rush and take 5 plates and cram it down in a half hour. It's not the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. It's you can have a leisurely day where you go up, you get your salad, your antipasta, maybe an omelet. Then you kind of bet the early double, lick your wounds, go back in an hour, get a little bit of the carvery, the roast beef. So it's you know what? It's been I'm very, very, very pleased with the way it's been going because we've got nothing but good feedback. And it's just Joe has done a spectacular job. I know things were a struggle during the early part of the pandemic. Obviously, they shut down the buffets during the pandemic, and they kept racing because they was able to do horse racing because it's outdoors and spacing, and it was great for us people that were stuck at home isolating on the couches because we could just plunge our guts out on the couch, and some of us still do that. But there's nothing like getting out there to the track and seeing the horses in the flesh, and when you sit there, it's spectacular because there's big picture windows, and you just perched right over the finish line.
Sick view.
It's good.
And
So
there's actually a place where you can walk out and sit on the grandstand right where 10 Palms if you want to be outside. And the weather's been spectacular.
Yeah,
and
it's
accommodating.
it's awesome. So we got to thank Joe B and Dave Joseph and the whole crew there at Gulfstream. We want to keep this thing going, and the contest has been very successful. And every week it seems like we get more and more. And I think there were over 60 entrants this past week.
Oh, wow.
We had 16 names in the hat, thanks to a couple of scratch horses and a winning favorite. So it's all good. We're going to be out there again this Friday with Tony Segreto, which I'm really excited about because Tony not only is a good eater, but he's a legendary broadcaster in this town. For those of us who were around back in the days of Hurricane Andrew, it was the night that basically him and Brian Norcross were the only two broadcasts. I think at the time NBC was on the Channel 4. They're now Channel 6, but there was a signal swap later on in the 90s and 200s. But basically, they hunkered down in the bunker of the TVJ studios, and I think they were the only local station that didn't get knocked off. The transmission towers didn't get knocked off. So the voices of Tony Segreto and Brian Norcross and who's the woman I should know? I have a senior moment. Jackie Nespro. Was Jackie on with them that night? I'll have to ask him. But obviously, besides that, Tony is a great sportscaster. Bernie Rosen and crew back when back when NBC 6 still had a sports department. But they did tremendous work. And then he was also national by filling in as the host of the George Michael Sports Machine when George Michael wasn't around. And we love Tony. Big sports fan, good eater. I ran into him at Anthony's Runway 84 last week, and it was really good to see him. And even though he makes that Mayo face every time you mention my name during his segment.
Well, because you guys are very different in mentality and in food eating. That like the way he I'm glad we're gonna have you together because I forgot to ask him again this week. We had him on today this morning. I forgot to ask him about his experience at Anthony's because we know yours. It literally everyone go. A guy was a rude jerk because of the way you experience Anthony's. Tony is very is very different. And like we went to a steakhouse with a guy who's like a high manager, and he's ordering everything, and Tony gets a
It's
Caesar
the
salad
salmon.
salmon.
He
You
seems like he's very healthy. Like he's very mindful. He's fit and trim. Seems like a guy who's like gonna make it to 100. You know, we say
know, yes.
the Italian toast is cent'anni, means 100 years, and I think Tony's gonna get there because he looks like
Oh.
in perfect fighting trim, as opposed to me. My over under right now, I think, is maybe 75 if I'm lucky. But I got longevity running in the family. Mom, God bless her, 90 and keeps pushing through every hurdle that is thrown at her. So yeah, we'll see. Life is a crapshoot. You never know what you're gonna get, and enjoy every sandwich. That's what I say every day. Hey, so we talked about Runway 84. So I'm posing this. I didn't throw it on the group yet, but just in the teaser to today's show.
Mhm.
Um, let's say you came into a nice hefty score, whether through gambling luck or maybe a settlement of a big insurance claim, hypothetically. And let's say the check had finally arrived and you were comfortable that it's going to clear, or you're going to be picking it up from maybe your lawyer's office later today. Uh, Mike Lubie Lubitz and anybody out there in the crowd,
Yeah, you can catch.
if you were going to go for a little celebration, and I am going to be going, it's again spring break week for my daughter. We had a great daddy daughter day in the Keys on Monday, and it's going to continue tonight because we're going to take a little trip to Miami, visit a
Oh,
law firm on Coral Way near the Miracle Mile, and it is a
oh,
miracle.
nice, Gables. Good for you.
But
Nice.
where would you go if you wanted to have a little blow the bank celebration
In that
with your
area, that
anywhere in the South Florida region? But I'm going to be in the 305. So what do you think?
okay, not to be promotional because it seems like whenever we say something, and Defo made fun of you in the beginning of this because you would always force in sponsors, but the idea of you is, and the sponsors understand it, is you are supposed to talk about everywhere, and that's where
Yeah,
we've gotten to this place where
yeah,
you talk about. We want to hear you talk about other restaurants, and the sponsors are okay with it.
right. Yeah, no, but when it's fitting, I will give the sponsors their credit and due
Yeah,
because they passed the Lunchbox Mike Mayo Gambling Gourmet test,
yeah,
which
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you got to
I
be
don't have a
good.
problem mentioning sponsors. I'm just saying, like, I don't want. I'm going to do that now, and I don't want people to go, "Oh, he's just self-serving." I don't know. Restaurants don't come to my mind like they do you, and I don't go out a lot. Like Shirley and I actually, just because of the hours she works, and then me now when I work, like we don't get a lot of time during the week. So the weekends we literally just crash out. Um, I haven't been to Cafe Seville yet, and I
Ha,
need to get out there. I don't, and I again, we have so many great people that we work with, and also we don't, but that we appreciate. But I really enjoyed the Catherine. Like
no, the Catherine is great.
on my mind, like every dish was so great. And then I just like Timon's energy makes me so happy. And his wife is just as fun. And then their daughter's there. Like we spent 45 minutes talking to them. I don't know. And I want to get back there. So to me, and I'm not a big, I need to go to this thing in Miami, or it would be more of an annoyance to me. Like my wife's big on, let's take a picture of this. I don't want to sit there with firecrackers going off in a steak and gold coming out of a lobster. Like I don't need that. Like I don't want that. I want good food at a nice price with good company, with good ambiance, that I don't have to feel like I'm working when I eat. So it comes to mind to me is I need to try Cafe Seville, and I want to get back to the Catherine. So that's where I would go.
Okay, no, you're thinking 954, which is perfectly
Yeah,
fine, and that's usually how I think. But
yeah,
um, you know, I haven't been to the 305 very much lately because I've been doing so much work in the 561 and the, Delray Beach, best of Delray Beach app,
yeah,
Dixteen, hello. And of course, some places in Boca. I've been venturing north more in the last, I'd say,
yeah.
2 years, including my friend Pushkar Marath up at Stage, and also Jeremy Ford, who is known for Stubborn Seed and Michelin Star in South Beach. But he opened his Butcher's Club Steakhouse up at the PGA National. So I've been doing a lot of the North, but I haven't been to the 305. I've been to Stubborn Seed. I've been to Boya Day. I've been to Ariete. I've been to a lot of the places that have been recognized in the Michelin Guide and with the James Beard Awards. One place I have not been, and which I'm kind of opposed to and anti, and was poo-pooing, and kind of said so on the Let's Eat group. But
Okay.
it's a place that my daughter really wants to go because my daughter is into scenes and she likes to go places that she sees a lot on TikTok
Very
or
nice.
Instagram. So, can you now guess where we might be going tonight? That
Crazy one, the one where they have the suitcase steak. That one.
No, well, I think there's Prime 112. The suitcase steak
I went
is
well,
at Poppy Steak. That's Pappy Steak is the suitcase steak.
yeah.
I'm not that ridiculous. I'm not going to go spending $1,000 on a steak after that I don't want to squander it all. Although I might squander a good bit. All right, well, I'm going to give you a hint. It's in the same vein as Runway 84.
Okay.
Now the new refurbished Runway 84 has been compared to this place because it's going for that kind of retro mid 20th century Italian, but like Brooklyn Italian, but now a little bit more formal and fancy. And the name of the place, and it's hard to get a reservation, and the name of the place is Carbone.
Oh,
And
Carbone.
down on South Beach, it's down around the corner from both Stubborn Seed and Joe's Stone Crab. It's been one of those polarizing places because it's expensive, it's trendy. The
What's
other
the
night,
reservation situation? Like this is season. Like what's
it's
reservation?
high season. Okay, here it is. Like I
Like
could have tried to make a call and pulled. I
yeah,
don't know who I know there or who I could know. I don't like trying to do that. I'm not a critic anymore. I like being like, you know me. I'm just the average Joe. I just
uh-huh,
joke you public. I
uh-huh.
would never tell a chef I'm coming.
Never. You not twice in like a month. Never. You would never do that.
No, no. Runway 84, I would because I know all those guys well. And I want to compare it. I want to see, who's doing the same thing. So Carbone, the other night when we were wrapping up the Keys trip, we were not dressed for it, but when I checked just for spits and giggles to see if I could get a reservation there, because they're on that reservations platform resi.com,
Okay.
and sometimes there's late cancellation. When I went on the other night on a Monday, it said there were no open reservations for 2 until April 17th. And I was like, well, that's a little far in the future.
Yeah.
So I was like, but today I went on this morning after planning my day and realizing I was going to go down to Miami to this lawyer's office. And lo and behold, there was a open reservation for 2 inside the dining room, which is where I want to eat and not outside on a patio, but in the dining room at 5:30. So, okay, it's the early bird. But that's okay. I like getting into a place when everybody's fresh and they don't run out of anything. So we have scored a table for 2 at Carbone at 5:30 p.m.
Nice. Okay.
And I'm looking forward to getting gouged through the eyeballs for the rigatoni alla vodka for $34 or $35, and then the veal chop that comes with the little foil around the bone, and they cut it with a little pizza, the pizza cutter, those round things. Like they apparently slice off the main hunk of the veal chop Parmesan from that little bone that's wrapped in foil with the pizza slicer for I don't know what it is, $95, $85. Every time I look at the menu, it seems to change. They might have variable pricing there depending on weekdays versus weekends, which is
I'd be
interesting.
cheaper on a Wednesday.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm going to go. I'm going to blow a little bit because, hey, you know what? Sometimes you feel like you just got to celebrate. At first, my daughter was going to, at first, my daughter was like, I was like, do you want to come take a ride with me to Miami and then we'll go out somewhere? And she's like, nah, I'm going to go to the gym with my mom. And I was like, really? I said, then I showed her that I could get a reservation at Carbone. She's like, oh, what the heck? YOLO. I was like, that is the spirit. So,
that is your daughter.
Yeah. I've taught her well.
Yeah.
And the nice part is I'm still going to be going through with my dry Lent.
Yeah.
I am not going to be blowing the bank on any kind of crazy cocktails or wine. And obviously she's only 17 and a half, so she's not old enough to drink. She could be my designated driver, but I said, no, Natalia, we're going to order a couple of mocktails. We're going to have a nice dinner. We're going to celebrate, and then we'll make our way back up to the 954. But that's it. I don't know what everybody out there would go. I'm getting
Burns. Burns is solid. I just sort of a pain in the butt.
I'm not driving to Tampa for a steak.
You got to go there, and even then, like the reservations actually fill up decent there because I tried to do. We were going to that area. That's where I have family there, and we were going there for like a bar mitzvah, and I didn't think about doing it until like 2 weeks before. And you could get like half the experience if you go. I was like, no, I don't want to go there and not do the whole thing. So it's like you'd have to think in advance. They sort of get booked up. That's the only problem with it. Especially now. Right now, the whole state of Florida is an utter disaster when it comes to like hotels and like reservations. So
Everything is mobbed. It's a mob scene here.
So,
and although you know what, the Keys, the upper and middle Keys were pleasantly crowded on a Monday afternoon. Key West, I hear, is a zoo.
it's Key West.
But anyway, so and Joanne also says Kaizen, which I was just there on Sunday.
I don't need a special occasion.
All right, Perk is on the line. Let's get him here. Chris Perkins. He's a very busy man. It's free agent season. It's the draft season. It's NCAA tournament season. I don't know if that means anything to him professionally. I don't know. Maybe as a side hustle, he might have a couple of wagers on it. But coming to you from the wonders of his glorious green screen pool deck high above the city of, I don't know, North Bay Village, Chris Perkins. How are you today?
Man, I'm good, man. Look, you didn't mention the WBC. That thing was fire. I mean, you had Ohtani against Trout last night. What's up, Bonnie? Incredible from the chat, Bonnie. Yeah.
Yeah, Bonnie from the chat. Bonnie from the block. Anyway, what is the WPC? I don't even know what this
World Baseball Classic. Come on.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm not hip to the lingo.
The final was fun. The final was actually pretty cool.
Japan. I totally forgot. What channel was it on? Was it on a
FS1, Fox Sports?
Oh, so I could have actually watched that on my Dish network. That's one of the few Fox affiliates that it does get. I just was not paying attention to any of that, but I understand it was a thriller between Japan and the United States of America. Is that true?
Yeah, look, well, you know what? It really, to me, the whole tournament was just absolute fire, just the crowd. I mean, that I'm more into international sports. I mean, national team stuff. So like, I don't watch Premier League soccer, but I always watch World Cup because I like nation versus nation. So, this baseball, I mean, it was great just seeing the player. And it's kind of like an all-star team where players give a damn. It's
who was like on the American
game where nobody is trying. This is like true effort, true national pride. And to see that stadium, Marlins Park, Lone Depot Park, just rocking, just people with passion, like you never seen that. And so it was great. It was a great turn. It's a great time of year for a sports fan.
Now, this is how ignorant I am. Was major leaguers involved, or was this just like college?
U.S. lineup was utterly ridiculous. You had
it was
Mookie Betts, then Mike Trout, Paul Goldschmidt, who won the MVP.
Trey Turner.
Mets, who was
so this was in lieu of spring training for these guys. I mean,
it's in between.
They leave spring training, and so you saw Edwin Diaz, the reliever for the Mets, blew out his knee while they're celebrating a victory. They're jumping around. He blows out his knee, so he's out for like 8 months.
Oh, geez.
And then who else got not?
He was Puerto Rico,
Altuve,
right?
Jose Altuve. Has got a broken thumb and he's going to be out for a few weeks. So, hey, if you play, there's a risk of injury. But I mean, the whole tournament, just the passion from Nicaragua and Venezuela and Cuba and Puerto Rico and the United States and Japan. And I mean, just a great, look. At the end of the day, it's baseball, and not many people truly care. I understand that, but outstanding event. Outstanding.
Very good. All right. Before we get into other sports, let me throw a food question to you, because before you came on, I was discussing how I just I came into some money. I'm not going to say how, but it is a settlement of a lawsuit involving a hefty sum. So nice. Where would you go for a blow the bank celebration? Anywhere in South Florida, but you could say 305 since that's your home county. Where would you go if you and Tammy wanted to do a nice little blow the bank celebration?
Wow. Oh, boy. I don't know. The beach would definitely be one of the stops. Because I always just like going to the beach and hanging out. So like actually on the sand with a big cooler, you can Uber down and Uber back.
I got to tell you, Perk, I'm on the wagon. I have given up alcohol for Lent, which makes no sense since I'm Jewish. But the drinking is not factoring into this equation tonight. So,
I just stay home then.
Throw a steak on the grill.
Yeah.
All right, give me two places.
Yeah, you know what? You can let's see, we can still get stone crab, right, for like another month.
I say Joe's. What do you think about Joe's? Joe's would be
So I would go somewhere. It doesn't have to be Joe's. I would probably, because you got to do some
Joe's is
South
classic.
Florida.
I think Joe's would be appropriate. My
for
daughter does not.
For a meal that Joe's is like a place.
My daughter does not like stone crabs, and I just had my fill of stone crabs because we did a day trip to the Keys, and we went to Keys Fisheries and Marathon on Monday. So we crossed stone crab off. So, but you're very close because the place I'm going is around the corner, and it's Italian, not steak. So there's your clues. But Carbone, I'm going to check out Carbone tonight to check it out. But have you been to Prime 112? I've never been there, and I don't know if it's worth the hype.
Yeah, good place. Good place. And look, here's the whole key to Prime 112, Mayo. That like I learned this years ago.
Go with somebody else who's paying. It's other people's money, right?
Well, that's always good, but you can just sit at the bar and eat the bacon. Because they bring out this bacon in like champagne flutes or wine glasses. And so you can just sit there and eat the bacon and look like a baller and talk to everybody and pretend like you're waiting on a table as LeBron and Dwayne.
That's complimentary. It's like they're pretzels. Instead of pretzels, they bring out this house-cured bacon.
Correct.
So basically,
look, it is good, great bacon, thick cut. And from their standpoint, it's very salty, so it makes you want to drink. So their profit margin on that bacon as much as their drinks cost.
Win-win, unless you're drinking club soda like me, then they'll still probably charge me $8 for the club soda, or they'll break out the fancy, bubbly, fizzy San Pellegrino for $16.
Yeah, bacon ain't free, Mayo. Come on, they got to pay for that bacon soda.
Bacon doesn't grow on trees. All right, let's get into hoops because I'm avoiding the Dolphins as long as possible because we're 6 months away from an actual football game. I'm sorry. NCAAs, how jacked are you to see all this success in South Florida? And do you think the Cinderella runs can continue for both or all three, I should say, local entries in their Sweet 16s?
Man, I hope so. The FAU men, the Miami women, but both Miami schools knocked out Indiana to get to the Sweet 16. But I have Miami going out. I've got Houston as my national champ. So Miami can win this. Yeah, they can win this game in my bracket, but they got to go down. Well, actually, my bracket is so bad it doesn't matter.
I think everybody's shot.
They might as well win it all.
All right. Well, look, I'm rooting for who's FAU playing? They're playing how many?
Lubie?
Tennessee.
Yeah. Okay. That's my sister-in-law's school. She's going to be rooting hard for the Volunteers. I'm rooting for the Owls. Yeah, why not? Let's keep it going.
Look, you know how I view the tournament is that there's actually two tournaments because at the end, it's usually the chalk, right? It's usually the big schools that take the title, Kentucky, North Carolina, Kansas. So I look at from the beginning to the Sweet 16, that's the underdogs tournament, right? The FAUs, Florida Gulf Coast, St. Joe's, and then Elite Eight, Final Four, that's the Blue Bloods. So I view it as two separate tournaments, and this is we're still in the underdog round right now, kind of.
Very nice. Defo is playing hooky today. He's out at the Miami Open at Hard Rock Stadium, a place you're familiar with. Do you think he can find any food items that are worthy of the price tag attached to him at the stadium? Or have you been out to the tennis tournament since it's relocated there? And do they do anything special or different in terms of the concessions and hospitality?
I haven't been out there. I'm going tomorrow, as a matter of fact. Yeah. But this will be my first time going at the stadium. I used to love it at Key Biscayne. This was right. When I first moved here, and it's still a great time of year, but you had Honda and Doral and tennis, and then the Heat would be going into the playoffs back in the Pat Riley, Alonzo Mourning, Tim Hardaway, Heat Knicks days, and UM baseball would be going to the College World Series, and it was just a great stretch of a few months. And so I'm looking forward to going out there tomorrow. Even the traffic going down to Key Biscayne, which was a pain in the butt in the later rounds, it was kind of a badge of courage, right? That I made it through the traffic to the semifinal, the final, the quarterfinal. So, yeah, I'm going out there tomorrow. I'm looking forward to, the setup. it doesn't seem as sexy out at the stadium as it did in Key Biscayne, especially if you sat at one of the high seat of the upper level and you could see the water and just a tennis setting. I guess maybe unlike any other in the nation. I actually have no idea.
It was gorgeous.
It was great. It was great.
Yeah, it was better view than let's face it, the U.S. Open, where you get the great view of Flushing and the parking lot at Shea Stadium or Citi Field. But yeah, I miss those days because I loved going out there. And you know, the key was, instead of going back to the mainland and getting caught in those traffic jams after some of those later round matches, if you turned right and headed up into the heart of Key Biscayne, there was some good little restaurants up there. When you go up to that, was it Bill Baggs State Park or something by the lighthouse? That was kind of local knowledge, where you could always say, you got to zig when everybody is zagging, go the other way, and then you could get rewarded. All right, I've avoided the Dolphins long enough, and I know you're limited in time because today, I guess, what do? They give you some snapshot Zoom sessions with big free agents, and you could ask them questions, and then they'll artfully evade any meaningful answers. Is that what happens?
That's it. You know the dance. You know what we do. Actually,
I hated it.
Actually, you know, I like it. These days are good, Mayo. And as you know, in sports, pretty much everything preseason is great because there's so much optimism, and you're just selling hope. And every free agent is going to be good, and he's going to turn out the way you wanted him to. And you know they're gonna step up. They've got great coaching now. Everything is different now. And then reality hits around mid-September. This dude's a bum. Get him out of here. But you know, right now, everybody is cooperative. Everybody is funny on the Zoom call. Everybody's in a good mood. They haven't committed any penalties. They haven't lost any games. So these Zoom calls are actually great. I mean, they really are. You get to see the guy's personality a lot more, as opposed to during the pressure and the rigors of the season when, you know, they're fighting off injuries and losses and they just got beat by Von Miller or whoever. You know, everything is optimistic now. So yeah, the Zoom calls were good. They were. We talked to Dan Feeney. You probably don't know him, but he's a
lineman.
Yes, a center guard, and he got fame by going to the New York Islanders games. A bunch of the Jets linemen went, and they agreed if the camera shows us in house, we're all going to drink a beer. Well, Dan Feeney took it to the next level, and he crushes the beer can on his head, and he's got this mullet, and so he becomes like this celebrity in New York. And so he says he's hoping the Panthers give him an invite so he can continue the tradition. You know, have your mullet, drink your beer, and smash it on your head. So it's a fun time.
This is why the Jets haven't won a championship, because their players, instead of wanting to be like Hall of Fame players, they want to be like Fireman Ed. And that's
hey, Fireman Ed, you know,
he's a legend. He's the only, I think, New York Jet that's had any kind of real success in the last 50 years. Oh, man. All right. So I've been, again, not paying attention willfully. I think the Dolphins did they offered the extension or whatever, the 5th-year option to Tua. Yep. So they are supposedly banking on him. But then I also hear rumors that Tom Brady is still coming. And what's going on with the draft? What is going on with this team besides Steve Ross spending his own money for stadium improvements and seeming to foul up everything else, and nothing ever turns out the way it's intended, right?
Actually, you know, I actually think Steve Ross is a good owner, but I mean, he did cost you a 1st-round pick. But here's why I think he's a good owner: is because he does what you want. No, listen, he does what you want every owner to do. He lets the football people make the football decisions, and he writes checks.
Yeah. Okay,
that's it. Like he did interfere with Tom Brady, but I mean, look, I would blame Chris Greer and the general managers way more than Steve Ross for the failings of the Dolphins over the last 20 years, during his ownership. But anyway, that's my Steve Ross, thing.
But I see Lubie shaking his head. Counterpoint, Mike Lubitz. Go ahead.
What like him, Lubie?
No, not I put way more blame on Greer. I mean, the whole thing with Flores was stupid. Whether he was joking or not, it's weird to openly like handcuff an African American / Latin coach that knows he's on a clock. So there's no way he's going to willingly look. We saw what happened in Arizona, and now in Carolina with Steve. I forget his last name, but like Flores wasn't going, yeah, sure, I'll lose on purpose because he didn't know he was going to be along with it. So that whole thing was weird. I wasn't the biggest fan of that. But other than that, like, I just think Ross gets in the way in the sense that he's sort of a doofus as an owner. But he does spend money and he doesn't get in the way, which, as much as people talk crap about James Dolan, he does get in the way. Like, James Dolan gets literally in the friggin' way. Like, Ross doesn't do that. And I don't blame him for that. My issue is he ties himself to either coaches or GMs and gives him a really long. It's funny, like, we want loyalty in life so much, but I don't want loyalty in sports. I feel like in his businesses, he is not a loyal dude. You don't get that successful being a sweetheart. You just don't. There's enough.
Be ruthless.
You don't. But then in his sports ownership, he's like a kind, well, I'll trust Joe Philbin and I'll trust Mike Tannenbaum and I'll trust Greer. I don't know. I'm not a fan of it.
If I can just interrupt, I'm very glad that Steve Ross is not like James Dolan because, well, not even Steve Ross. I'm glad the Dolphins weren't like that back in the day when I was covering the team. Because could you imagine if they had facial recognition for the stadium when I was covering Shula, and they would just automatically bar me and keep me out sidelined forever.
Exactly. They'd have sent you over to like the cover a game in Hialeah or something like that. Right?
Oh man. Hey, so real quick, I know you got to go. You got to pound out some copy on deadline. There's never-ending deadlines when there's a 24/7 internet cycle, but we appreciate your time today. So the draft, what's the number one need? What are they going to do? Are they not pick until the third round? What's going on? I've not paid attention to that either.
Yeah, they got a second and a third. So the draft isn't going to be overly exciting for the Dolphins. Look, they've done most of their heavy lifting already. The remaining holes, you need to bring somebody in to challenge for the starting job at right tackle, to challenge Austin Jackson. Maybe they re-sign Brandon Shell. You need to bring in somebody to challenge Liam Eichenberg at left guard. You need a backup left tackle. And you need another tight end. You've already got three tight ends. You've got Durham Smythe, Eric Saubert, who you just signed, and Tanner Connor. But most of the heavy lifting is done. So there's the draft is they've got a second, a third, a sixth, and a seventh. Who cares? You might get your lineman, your right tackle, your backup left tackle, but it's not going to be a splashy, overall number 10 pick type of draft for the Dolphins. So really, I think that a lot of the offseason stuff for the Dolphins is pretty much done. The shopping now, it's getting to know guys, bringing them in, and all that kind of stuff.
When it comes to running back, before we let you go, they brought back Wilson. They brought back Mostert. People were hoping they'd go after a big back. I don't see that happening. But will they finally use a higher draft pick on a running back, or they are set at running back, you think?
I think they're set, Lubie. I wanted them to get a splashy running back. And, Derrick Henry is the guy that was out there, but they weren't, you had to trade for Derrick Henry and then give him a new contract. The Dolphins are in win now mode. I would have personally given Derrick Henry $8 million a year. Because you're trying to win this year and next year. And whatever happens after that, you're whatever. You're like the LA Rams, right? Where Leonard Floyd is gone and Jalen Ramsey is gone and all these guys. You won your title and that's it. And I think that's the mode that the Dolphins are in now. It's like you take guys with injury risk, right? Teron Armstead and Bradley Chubb and Raheem Mostert, David Long, the linebacker they just signed. You take guys who are all pros. You take all of these guys and you put them in the room and you say, we want to win a title this year or next year and screw 2025. And that's kind of where the Dolphins are now. So at this point, again, most of the heavy lifting is done. You've pretty much got the team that you've got. They're going to, they'll sign somebody else and they'll draft somebody, but the major players, they're in-house. So it's about, getting sharp and everything.
And if Tua holds up. All right. So 2 quick questions and then we'll let you go to work. Number one, give me the Dolphins record for the upcoming game.
Oh God, I have no idea. I'll just say this: they'll make the playoffs.
Just say 9-8. That's the standard answer.
Yeah, that's boring.
If you're going to be optimistic, 9-8. If you're going to be pessimistic, 8-9.
Yeah.
It's the NFL.
Well, I went 8-9 last year. I was almost right, but the fans did not appreciate it. Let me tell you that.
It's not easy being a beacon of truth.
Sense of humor about it, like I did. So I don't know, but they they'll make the playoff. They better make the playoffs, right?
Oh, you better believe they better make it. Otherwise, forget it. All right. And one last food question.
Yes.
You're going to the Miami Open tomorrow. Wimbledon has their signature strawberries and cream. What should the Miami Open's signature food item be if it doesn't have one, which it doesn't?
To my knowledge, it doesn't have one, but it's got to be like, I would say, because it's tennis and this time of year, it's got to be seafood, right? Stone crab or Florida lobster, the spiny lobster. I think the Cuban sandwich is probably a little too heavy, right? Like
you're not saying croquetas and cafecitos, nothing like that. You would go with stone crab and mustard sauce as opposed to strawberries and cream.
Yes.
I think that's the winning answer. I am always down for a stone crab, especially when they bring them out to us at Delaware Chicken and Seafood Market. We're going to be there tomorrow. Perk, you should come over there. Oh, no, you're going to the tennis. You can't. We always have good seafood feasts. All right, we're going to let you go to work, and we're going to do our business, too, here on the Lunchbox. Chris Perkins, thanks, as always, for your time. We got to get together and eat and drink someday. It'll be, for me, the drinking will come after Easter when I fall off the wagon with a thud. But tomorrow we're going to be at one of my favorite places for shopping and just picking up and looking at all the great stuff, the fine foods, whether it's the fish, the steaks, the prepared foods in the case fish dip. We're talking about Delaware Chicken Farm and Seafood Market. I talked to Jose Sanchez, their great seafood department manager, this morning. He is all geeked up and ready to go to have us out. They're going to have the table and the chairs all waiting for us when we get there to set up. And we're going to get a good, strong Wi-Fi signal going. We're going to be indulging on some crab cakes, along with Jose is going to be talking about how they make gefilte fish for the Passover holiday. And we're going to be talking about Easter, Passover, all the great things you could get there. Delaware Chicken Farm and Seafood Market is at 4191 North State Road 7 in Hollywood, right across from the classic Seminole Casino. Since 1951, family owned for over 70 years, the home of freshness. You know all about the chicken, the poultry. They have all these great house-made sausages made with chicken and pork. They have beef, but most of all, they have their beautiful seafood, fish, and the stone crabs and all the great Florida products. And you got to pick up the fish dip. You could also pick up
in regard to Delaware and a recent post on like, do they sell boneless fish? I feel like they probably have fish fillets.
Yeah, they have whole fish. You could pick out a whole fish and then they'll fillet it for you and they'll skin it, they'll scale it, and then they'll do the full filleting if you want to buy it that way. Or they have in the display case beautiful fillets. And I'm not going to say you're never going to find a bone, but they'll usually get all the big bones out of there. Always. It's fish, but they do a great job. Thank you, Andy. Delaware Chicken Farm and Seafood, we'll be seeing you out there tomorrow. Come say hi. Quality, value, freshness. That's the Delaware way. Tell them Mike Mayo and the Lunchbox sent you.
And this is Mike Mayo's Lunchbox, Sans Defo with Lubie. Thanks again, Chris Perkins, for joining us. And when we get back, we'll have more food talk fun here on Mike Mayo's Lunchbox.
People come to me and say, Mike, where should I go out to eat? I got guests coming from out of town. Where should we go? Cafe Seville. That's the answer. 2768 East Oakland Park Boulevard. It's a Fort Lauderdale perennial, serving the finest in Spanish and continental cuisine in a cozy, friendly, comfortable setting. Joey Esposito and Sally, his better half, they've been running the place for a long time. It's been open since the 1980s. They got great Spanish classics like paella, shrimp with garlic sauce, and all kinds of great seafood dishes. The stuffed veal chop, that's my favorite. Go to Cafe Seville. It's open every day but Sunday at 5 p.m. for dinner. Tell them that the Lunchbox Mayo and Defo sent you. Do you like burgers? Do you like wings? Do you like late night food and sports on big screen TVs and cold beer and friendly vibe and great people? Then you want to check out Shenanigans, 1300 South Federal Highway in Dania Beach. You go to Shenanigans, you get yourself all the good stuff, the fresh fish every day, the black and grilled wings, and of course, the kitchens are open late. Go there, tell them that the Lunchbox Mayo and Defo sent. Looking for a great place for steaks, seafood, and more? Go to Tropical Acres Steakhouse and Butcher Shop. It's at 2500 Griffin Road in Dania, just west of I-95 and the airport. They've been there a long time, since 1949. That means they're doing something right. You'll get old school hospitality from the Studiali family, along with great value, tremendous service. Of course, you could also go into the bar for happy hour every day, 4 to 6. The early bird special runs from 4:30 to 5:30, and they have great value all night long. Also, a butcher shop that's open every day from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. except Sunday. The dining room is open every day at 4:30 except Sunday. Go to Tropical Acres. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. Hey, it's Mike Mayo. When the Brooklyn boy in me wants a good bagel with Nova or some matzo ball soup, homemade knishes, or a great deli pastrami sandwich on rye, you know where I go? Grandpa's Cafe in Dania Beach. It's been around a long time, an institution, but a little over a year ago, a pair of New Yorkers came in, bought it, and refurbished the place. It's beautiful, and they are now serving great breakfast, brunch, lunch. They've got the omelets, they've got eggs Benedict, they've got all kinds of great baked goods like rugelach. Grandpa's is just off Federal Highway on Southwest 1st Street in Dania Beach. It's open 7 days. Go in there, tell them that the Lunchbox sent you. When I'm looking for some wicked good food for a wicked good lunch, there's only one place to go. That's Wicked Cheesesteaks in Fort Lauderdale. It's at 4824 North Federal Highway, just south of Commercial Boulevard and across from Holy Cross Hospital. My friend Brian there, he will hook you up with some really tasty treats. They've got cheesesteaks, just like the best you can find in Philly, along with lobster rolls, because that's where he's from, Maine originally, and they have wings and pizza and everything you want to have a really good time. Wicked Cheesesteaks, they're open every day but Tuesday. Go in there on a Wednesday. They got buy one, get one on cheesesteaks from 5 to 8 p.m. Check them out online, wickedcheesesteaks.com. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. We're back on the Lunchbox. It is a Wednesday. Defo is playing hooky out in the fun and sun of the Miami Open Tennis Tournament. I've got Lubie here. We had Chris Perkins. We went heavy on the sports. Now we're going to go heavy on something that I can get into, pizza. Always a perennial topic of debate when it comes to food on Let's Eat South Florida. And, you know, it is so subjective. And when somebody says, where's the best pizza? And I always say it's the one you like, because, you know, what kind of style are we talking about? There's so many different types of pizza now out there these days. I mean, you've got your classic New York slice joints. You've got obviously now Detroit pizza's become a thing. It's kind of like the thick and what we used to call Sicilian pizza, but the Detroit style has the cheese that's baked over the edges, and you get that extra kind of caramelized cheesy crust. You have Detroit, besides Detroit, you have Chicago thick pan pizza, you know, the stuffed pizza, the cheese casserole type things. You've got the thin Midwestern tavern style pizzas. You got New Haven, Abizza, which, you know, I have my personal favorites at Pizza Spot and up in Delray now. Abizza is doing a great job, and they also got a huge score from Portnoy when he dropped in there, and they opened specially for him and made a pie especially for him. So I don't know if that's a true score, but he gave him an 8.4, and he said that it is possible to find New Haven, true New Haven style pizza outside New Haven, which is something I long maintain with the Pizza Spot. If you order right and you, again, I order right. But you know, I went in there yesterday, and I got to rhapsodize for a minute. Indulge me for a second, Lubie, because you know, when Portnoy went in there, he didn't say who he was. He ordered ahead. The pizza was sitting there on top of the oven for like 20 minutes. And sometimes, you know, your New Haven thin style pizza, even if it's sitting around in a cardboard box, is going to get a little soggy. So it had a little sag on it. And, you know, him and his, the flop, blah, blah, blah. It's like, you know, there's certain things you can do to make your flop more manageable, like getting it fresh out of the oven. And also, you know, he cheats a little bit. Sometimes he folds the pizza so it doesn't flop. Look, I respect Portnoy. He's entertaining. Obviously, anybody with, you know, 4 million Instagram followers and millions on other social media platforms. Am I jealous? Sure. I'd love to have that kind of influence. But I think he plays a little games. And now that he has a pizza app, he's not as, let's say, what's the word? Tough unforgiving as he used to be. So he's giving a little bit scores that are a little bit better. Anyway, our Beats deserve their score. I've had really good
you like it,
New
right?
Haven style pizza there. I love it. Yeah, and Jim is a nice guy, and we want to do a show
Yeah,
up
I
there
want to
one
get up
time.
there. Yeah,
It's worthy. It's in Best of Delray Beach, and but the bottom line is lately I've been Jones. I love this simple minimalist, what he calls a plain pie.
You
Wade
like it
and
without the
Reese.
cheese? I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm conditioned. It's not that it's
I
bad.
love it. It makes me. It's so much lighter.
Yeah.
It also is the purity of the dough, and he has really good. To me, the star of the show at Pizza Spot is his sauce.
Yeah,
Is
the
so
sauce
good.
is really
It's
good.
vibrant. It's not sweet. He uses really good California tomatoes. And we just put the little sprinkle of the grated cheese, the Parmesan Reggiano, grated parm, that he sprinkles on it at the end. It gives it just that faint hit of the cheese, the brininess from the cheese. But I just love it's so simple and it comes out so crisp and cracker
Yeah,
like with no flop. I mean, if Portnoy had one of those plain pies, and again, Frank Pepe Pizza, which is now in Plantation, getting very mixed reviews, but
yeah.
the original Frank Pepe on Worcester Street in New Haven, that was their original, like, classic Italian pie, was the plain pie, not drenched with mozzarella cheese and 5 toppings, but just, like, that's it. Crisp, beautiful dough and tomato sauce, a little sprinkle. Sometimes they little bit of basil and oregano in the sauce, sometimes a little bit of crushed garlic, a little bit of red pepper flake, little sprinkle of cheese. Man, I've been down in those the last few times I've been in there. I know my pie at Pizza Spot used to be the bacon and hot cherry pepper bomb, but my stomach is really digging just the plain pie. It's easier and gentler on the soul, and it goes down so quick. I ordered one of those small pies that is only $9 for the plain pie small. You give them a 10 spot at the Pizza Spot, one for the house and 9 for the pizza. And next thing I know, the whole thing was gone. It was good. It was so good. Like 8 little slices of happy pizza. Me, that right now, I threw it up on Instagram and it's getting a nice buzz. I didn't put it on the Facebook group because we don't allow the the promotion of
Yeah. I faced
advertising.
that. Yeah.
Like to sing Pizza Spot's praises. But anyway, that's a long-winded way of saying what is your preferred style and what's your favorite pizza out there?
I like the New York style. I like pepperoni. Like that's pretty much because the thing is, and I actually enjoyed it when we had it at Pepe's. I don't know if we've had it at the Pizza Spot. It's a nice flavor, the thing you're talking about, but it doesn't. It's not a nut. It's missing something. Like maybe I'm conditioned to have the mozzarella cheese. I don't know.
And he makes a really good pepperoni
I
pie with
like
mozzarella
pepperoni
at Pizza
slice.
Spot too. Yeah. But I guess up in your neck of the woods, Coral Springs, do you have a particular
Squally. Well, okay. So I
Squally's is great. Yeah.
We have Poppies, not Papi. Poppies. Poppy.
That's the Miami.
It's literally small hole in the wall. There's no tables. They literally just have a counter. It's only takeout, and it's in this really not great shopping center, and they're hammered. They're slammed. They never have any specials. They never have any deals because they're so hammered. So I grew up on Poppies, and they do a really good job. And then over here in Coral Springs, and I guess out east, they have a couple. Pasquale's is something surely,
Pasquale's is solid.
and they do a really good job. And
yeah, I've consumed slices everywhere because I'm obsessed with kind of the New York slice thing.
yeah.
And I still have not tried. Joe's of New York came down to Wynwood, and it's getting, I've talked to people and they say it's good. I grew up on the original when I went to high school. The original is in Manhattan by Greenwich Village, by Carmine Street and 6th Avenue. Great slice. I don't know if I guess they've managed to replicate it here, but I like the slice joints. Have you ever heard of New Jersey pizza? Like apparently some New Jersey people are saying New Jersey pizza is a thing and that it's distinct somehow from New York, which I don't even know, but I think New Jersey is like Brooklyn pizza. It's like thin and all that stuff. So I don't know if somebody can enlighten me out there in the audience.
Someone, I guess Segretto's from New Jersey and Joe Beja is in New Jersey.
Yeah, we'll talk to them about
Friday.
If New Jersey pizza is a thing or if it's just basically a sibling and cousin of New York pizza, New York slice. And again, New York pizza, there's 2 different varieties. There's the slice joints that you get by the slice at the corner pizza parlor, and then there's the old school, the coal-fired ovens in places like Totono's in Brooklyn, and there was Patsy Grimaldi's that you can't order a slice. You got to get a whole pie.
Oh, really?
John's of Bleecker Street. A lot of places, like old school pizza parlors that, like the New Haven places, they don't sell by the slice. You have to get it a whole pie. And a lot of times they do come out a little bit charred and in those coal-fired ovens. So, and one more thing before, I know we got a bunch of business left, but I want to put in the good word. I've become really a big fan of the Detroit style pizza. I grew up loving Sicilian pizza, the square thick dough pizza in
you
New
guys
York.
talk about Detroit. I don't know around me where I would get Detroit because I'm down.
Detroit pizza. Okay, Jets is a chain out of Michigan.
Okay.
That is when you order they call it the 4-corner or the 8-corner, where all of them are like basically corner slices.
Okay.
I love, for a chain, Jets is my favorite chain pizza, and getting that 4-corner well done with the turbocharged crust, which has like extra like garlic and other things, like some cheese baked into the crust. But the like if you get a pepperoni 4-corner well done turbocharged crust, I defy anybody. I'm not saying it's the best pizza in the world because the quality of the cheese and the sauce isn't at the same level.
Can tell
but
Papa John's, Pizza Hut, Domino's, like you could, whether you like them or not, I'm not judging you, but you can tell that from a Poppy's, Pasquale's, like you.
Yeah, because the quality of the cheese, the grande cheese is the premium. There's things you can tell. But Jets, for a mass-produced chain pizza, I defy anybody to tell me it's bad. It's not bad.
Okay.
It's a little bit greasy, and it's not the highest quality ingredients. But then I want to sing high praise to the pizza parlor in Delray Beach that is doing Detroit-style pies. It's called Death by Pizza. And it started off as a pop-up and a cookie store in Delray. Now they branched off to their own brick and mortar. There's no seating in there. It's basically you just pick up the pies and eat them in the car or at home. But Death by Pizza does the Detroit-style pies that are really good in different styles. And we named them to Best of the Best in Delray Beach. It was a squeaker because we wanted to put a pizza place in there. And it's so subjective because our Beats could have been in there. But we thought Death by Pizza is doing what it does so well that Best of the Best is what we call like kind of our top 10, top 15 places that are essential, that if you're in Delray Beach, you got to check them out if you have visitors coming to town. So Death by Pizza, both Abbeats and Death by Pizza are worthy and should be checked out.
Are they just good pizza?
Death by Pizza is Detroit pizza. Okay. They're not from Detroit. They've never been to Detroit. They've just perfected a recipe of really good Detroit. They were talking about bringing New York style pies and the thin, the thinner round pies there. I don't know if they've done that yet. I say don't mess with the, if you got something going that's good and that's become your trademark, just stick with it. But anyway, that I'll give my plug to both Abbeats and Death by Pizza in the Delray Beach area for those of you who are northward. Anyway, pizza, something, endless arguments, totally subjective. I could eat them all, and I will. I'll even eat the crappy Ilios pizza. Might have to throw a couple of slices in the toaster oven for lunch. All right. We got some more business. Visit Lauderdale. It's Visit Lauderdale Day. Greater Fort Lauderdale. It is crazy out there. All the spring breakers in town. So many of the, visitors and, homebodies who are on spring break this week, like my daughter. We're going out and about, checking out all kinds of good food and eats around in the Greater Fort Lauderdale area because we welcome everyone under the sun, and it means all you foodies out there, the culinary explorers, cocktail connoisseurs, craft beer aficionados. Come on, come all, get ready to savor every flavor and every moment. More than 70 types of cuisines, more than 4,000 area restaurants in Greater Fort Lauderdale, everything from the great places along the Intracoastal and the ocean with breathtaking views, Las Olas Boulevard, and now Atlantic Boulevard in Pompano Beach. Lots of great restaurants up and down those.
That was great.
Yeah. And then, of course, we've got the high quality, award-winning chefs like Tim and Baloo at the Catherine. It's a world-class culinary scene here, and don't forget about the thrilling nightlife scene, the Visit Lauderdale Ale Trail, hidden speakeasies, rooftop bars, expert mixologists. It's a never-ending culinary and libation celebration in Greater Fort Lauderdale, and everyone's invited. So for more information about the latest events and promotions, go to visitlauderdale.com. That's visitlauderdale.com.
And when we get back, we will wrap up this edition of Mike Mayo's Lunchbox right here on South Florida Live.
Mayo here for Delaware Chicken Farm and Seafood Market. Since 1951, family owned for over 70 years, the home of freshness. I've been a customer for over 3 decades, and it's the place to go for poultry, steaks, meats, and of course, their unbelievable selection of fish and seafood. They've got it all: Key West pink shrimp, grouper, snapper, lobster, and of course, Florida stone crab claws of all sizes. Don't forget their famous fish dip and a full selection of prepared foods. It's located at 4191 North State Road 7 in Hollywood, just across from the Seminole Classic Casino. Owner Doug Carter and crew will take great care of you. Make sure to check out their weekly specials and daily catch online at DelawareChicken.com. Quality, value, freshness, that's the Delaware way. Tell them Mike Mayo and the Lunchbox sent you. Do you like pizza? Who doesn't like pizza? Well, my spot for pizza is the Pizza Spot. It's in that little bit hard to find Riverside Park neighborhood of Fort Lauderdale, but it's totally easy to love. It's at 601 Southwest 12th Avenue, New Haven style, a pizza from Wade and Reese. It's a lovely outdoor spot. You could also pick up pies to go at 754-779-7788, 754-779-7788. Again, they're open every day but Monday for lunch and dinner. Some of the best pizza I've ever had. Go to Pizza Spot. They also have subs, salads, and more. Tell them the Gambling Gourmet sent you. If you like seafood in a comfortable setting, outdoors, even keel fish shack at the corner of A1A and Commercial Boulevard in Lauderdale by the Sea, that's my spot. It's upscale food in a down-home setting. The chef owners, Dave and Brad, do a terrific job with all the seafood classics that you want. They have the best grilled oysters in town, bang bang shrimp, lobster rolls, and deli fish specials. They also have weekend brunch Saturday and Sunday. They have daily happy hour 4 to 7, and they also have other weekly specials like mussels on Monday and oysters on Tuesday. Go to Even Keel Fish Shack and tell them that the Lunchbox sent you. All right, we're back on the Lunchbox. We're going into overtime, and let's clean up some odds and ends. Jim Sarney, our man, our Svengali, says, don't forget, Nova Southeastern already in the Division II Final Four. Well, I've not only forgotten, I never even knew it in the first place. I wish I could say I care, but good for them. Good on them. We're going to root for them, along with the locals. Andy says that April 30th works for him. So maybe we are going to have a Lunchbox party at the 10 Palms with Twee and her party. If she brings out a crowd, I'll be out there and we can get a whole crew of people that, if you don't win the contest, it's still worth great value for the $62 for the all-you-can-eat lunch brunch buffet at 10 Palms at Gulfstream on a Sunday. So that's great. We also, let's see, Andy wants to know, does Joe cover gambling losses for the day? No, he does not. That's not part of the deal. Let's see. You know what? I wanted to just briefly mention, and I gotta mention, talking about celebrations. I mean, Tropical Acres, I've done so many celebrations there. That's why it wasn't in the running for today. But you want to go out there if you are, let's say you didn't get a big check and you just want to get great value for your celebration. You go out to Tropical Acres, 2500 Griffin Road. The Studi Alley family, they've been doing it a long time. They've been there over 70 years, since 1949. Classic, old school Florida steakhouse with the finest in quality, selection, service, value. They will take great care of you. It is a place to go for a celebration, any occasion. This weekend would be a great time to go. They're typically closed on Sundays, but Easter Sunday is coming up, and they are going to be open Easter from 1 p.m. to 8 p.m. Make your reservations now by calling 954-929-2500. And don't forget, Monday and Tuesday, half-price wine night. They've got happy hour in the bar Monday through Friday, 4:30 to 6:30. They also have their loyalty club card. So for every 12 entrees you buy, you get the 13th one on the house. We love Tropical Acres. They also have a butcher shop that's open Monday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. You could go in and get cuts of meat to throw on the grill at home. And of course, the dining room is open every day starting at 4:30 with the early bird, Monday through Saturday. Tropical Acres, go in there, tell them the Lunchbox sent you. And one last thing, restaurateur extraordinaire Bert Rappaport, he emailed me this morning with a link to a article that's been making around in the restaurant business that Food and Wine published, which is like 4 ways that restaurants and managers can tell customers basically to F off. That if they have a customer that's being, let's say, a little bit difficult, and Bert, obviously has a lot of different restaurants around. He's a veteran. He's a smooth operator. He takes good care of people. But there's some people that you just can't please.
Exactly.
Seems like a lot of them are on Let's Eat these days. The posts are getting a little bit
negative,
more like,
yeah, you're getting.
oh my God. It used to be I did these counts of like, it was 90% were either neutral queries or positive reviews. Lately, it's been skewing towards people are just griping about the most. Okay, fish have bones, and like if you go to a restaurant and they show you to a table that you don't like, you could ask for another table. I do that all the time. But once you do that, do you really need to go on social media and bitch that the first table they showed you to you didn't like? Like, get over it. If they give you another table, then why do you have to go? I don't understand.
Why is that? Look, and I guess I give you guys credit for just letting the post go through, because I would sort of be dictator guy and this is stupid, get away. This is stupid, get away. So I give you guys credit for putting the post through. Why is that? I get it. Our phone allows us to go right away to these sites. But that doesn't mean you have to. Like, just enjoy the freaking experience. Nothing's perfect in life. I don't it show, and I complain about a lot of things. I bitch and moan, but like, come on, like, who gives
like if something goes horribly wrong and they are defiantly like unapologetic and don't try to make things right, then you can go on there. And again, if you've already talked about it with management. But I didn't read the story that Bert sent me yet, but I do know that my favorite way to basically some restaurants curate that customer base. They say, hey, we're not for everyone, maybe we're not for you.
Yep.
That's okay.
Yep.
But my favorite one is this really high-end place. It's my favorite restaurant in Delray Beach also. It's called The Grove. It's operated by a chef owner named Michael Haycook, who went to the Culinary Institute of America. He does very high-end stuff. His menu is not for everybody. It's expensive. It's for some people an occasion place. For some people who are loaded with dough, they go our regulars. But I love the joint. But some people are going to complain because they charge for bread, or they're not going to bend over backwards. They decline substitutions. And when some persnickety customers or guests come into his place and things aren't going well and they're just constantly complaining and they're looking for whatever compensation or whatever, Michael's response at the end of the meal is, "We look forward to never serving you again." Which to me is pretty much a very courteous way of telling a guest to F off. And then that person will go squawking to everybody. No, could you believe it? They said that. That's so rude. And it's like, yeah, I can believe it. It's not for everybody. And it makes some people want to go even more. And it makes it even more exclusive. If you think it's snooty, I don't know. I love the place. I love the vibe there. I love the food there. But I could definitely see how he would do that to certain people. And then again, I just think it's brilliant. Yeah, that's it. We look for, however, here at the Lunchbox, we look forward to serving everyone again. We hope you guys come back tomorrow. We did a little bit of overtime today. Thank you for that, Lubie. We didn't know how we were going to fill an hour, and look at that.
No concerns.
Rambled on and on and on. We hope Defoe didn't get too bad of a sunburn and makes it home. And we'll see everybody tomorrow from Delaware Chicken Farm and Seafood Market. Come on out and enjoy a little feast with us. And you could come on out, maybe mention Lunchbox. Maybe we'll throw you a little something. Well, you never know. But we'll see you tomorrow at Delaware Chicken and Seafood Market in Hollywood. Until then, for Mike Lubie Lubitz, thanks again to Chris Perkins. I'm Mike Mayo saying enjoy every sandwich.